Caucus session for the Armstrong School District Board of Directors for Thursday, September 6, 2018. Won't you please rise with me for a moment of reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. And now the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Burdell.
Here.
Ms. Bowser.
Here.
Mr. Johnsick.
Here.
Mr. Elkin. Ms. Lote.
Here.
Dr. Lobby. Mr. Mulroy. Mr. Scaife.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
The Board of School Directors of Armstrong School District convened an executive session on Thursday, September 6th at 6:45 p.m. in the Faculty Lounge of West Hills Intermediate School in Katanning for discussion of personnel, real estate, and school security and safety.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
At this time, we're going to recognize the 2018-19 Student Board representatives.
I'll turn it over to Mr. Josh Williams to do the introductions of our newly appointed students.
First from Armstrong High School, we have doing her second tour of duty, Emily Hopper, senior representative.
Hi, glad to be back this year. I really enjoyed it last year and glad that I can keep doing it again. I'm really looking forward to it and my senior year. I'm planning on I'm not exactly sure where I want to go to college yet, but I want to do actuarial science. So we're going to plan on that. I golf, I'm on the bowling team. I'm in basically almost any club you want in the school. And so far, senior year's going great. So thanks for having me back.
Thank you. Next from Armstrong Junior Senior, we have Lori Enders, junior representative.
Hello, I'm Lori Enders. I'm the junior rep for this year, and I'm very excited to be here and be involved. I'm this year's 2018 David Care Queen. I'm in 4-H. I'm on the Governor's Youth Council for hunting, fishing, and conservation. So as you can see, I love to be involved in things, and I'm in a multitude of clubs. I'm involved in band and chorus, and I'm very excited to see what this year will bring.
Next from West Shamokin Junior Senior High School, second year senior representative Eric Perkins was unable to make it tonight, but we have first year junior representative Carter Eddy.
Hi, I'm Carter Eddy. I'm on the cross country team. I'm a student ambassador and part of Leo Club. I have high aspirations for pre-med at Penn State, and I want to be a pediatric surgeon.
Just as a small token and welcome to our junior folks, we have
So welcome again. I hope you learned some valuable experiences, and I'm looking forward to, I'll speak on behalf of the board, we're looking forward to hearing your reports on a monthly basis and all the exciting things that you're doing. So good luck. Thank you. Central office reports.
Nothing formal, just wanted to let the board know that the start of school, with the exception of the issues that we have in West Shamokin, it has gone really well. I don't know if Dr. Williams or Dr. Slosky want to comment about their visits around to the elementary, secondary buildings. The only complaint that I've gotten was relative to how hot it was. As you know, we have one building that does not have air conditioning at State Elementary. I'm glad to inform you that we do have some professionals going in there later this month on the 27th to tell us what it would take to fit that building for air conditioning moving forward, as well as a safety and security entrance. So, not that helped over the past week or anything that we're going to encounter over the next month or so, but in the future we're hoping to mitigate that, and all of our buildings will be good, positive, cool learning environments. We'll see how that goes. You're welcome. That's it for now.
Public comments on any agenda items this evening from anyone else in the audience. Public comments? Okay, now we'll present the regular monthly agenda. For Monday night, we'll start with the minutes. So I'll look for consensus to add the open caucus session minutes for August 9th, the regular meeting for August 13th, and the special meeting for August 21st. Do I have consensus to add those 3 items to the agenda on Monday? Likewise, we have a set of bills to add to the agenda. We have the food service fund for August, the capital projects fund for August, the athletic fund for July, and the presentation of bills for payment for August. So I have consensus to add those items to the agenda.
Yes.
Any questions or comments about any of the bills? I should have said any questions or comments on the minutes as well. Okay. Personnel will is automatically added to the agenda. We don't ask for consensus for that, right? I ask everyone. 2 items for education. Education 1 is student transfer requests. I would assume pretty standard stuff there. And education 2 is approval for high school students and chaperones to attend the 2018 PSBA Student Delegate Program. Anything to add from the administrators?
Every year we approve that, and I don't know, every year we send students, but typically we send students out to Harrisburg for the...
Typically we do. Last year, actually, the PSBA had canceled it. So we look forward to this year. They're going to have it again, and hopefully the folks to my left here will be our representatives, and we'll have chaperones for them.
It's a good experience for those students who do attend.
Do I have consensus to add those?
Excuse me, I have a
Yes.
question. The resolution says 4 students and 2 chaperones. Is that 2 from, are we trying to go in 2 from Armstrong? 2 students and a chaperone from Armstrong, and the same way for,
That's correct.
Right.
Okay.
It would be our 4 student board representatives, and then we like to have a male and female chaperone.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Do I have consensus to add those to the agenda? Business, 5 items. The approval of Gov Connection quote for purchase of projectors, approval of Windstream agreement, acceptance of donation for naming rights, acceptance of donations for scoreboard sponsorships, and West Franklin Township LERTA resolution. Administrators want to point out anything with any of those items?
Dr. Williams can give an update on Business 1.
Biz 1 is similar to, I believe, what we did at the end of the spring, the purchase of replacement laser projectors for the current projectors that we have in place that use bulbs. We expected at a minimum to get at least a 10 or 11 year lifespan out of them. The ones that we put in work very well, they're very bright, and they are bulbless. So we're, in the long haul, we're definitely going to save some money. We'll also save money on smart boards because they have integrated touch, meaning, that projector we can put on any surface, you can walk up to it, and, it acts just like a touch screen. Question?
Make sure you have Sam add to that motion that it is a cooperative purchase through CoStars.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Any other questions on any of the business items?
Business 3 is acceptance of a donation for naming rights to the athletic complex. We had an offer from next year ESS Insurance for a $200,000 donation in exchange for naming rights for over $200,000 over 10 years. In acceptance of donations for scoreboard sponsorships, we've had 3 separate $25,000 donations. One was from the Wilson Group, who does our copy machines. Fagan does our maintenance supplies, and from CWM Environmental to get a advertisement on our scoreboard up there.
Great news.
Yeah, very good news.
Any other questions or comments from board members?
The naming rights, now that, we're going to put a sign up, or?
Yeah, you know what, it's similar to this right here. Back of the
Grants.
press box
Old press box.
and on the main building. There'll be 2 different signages there. One you can see driving past it, one you can see when you're in the stadium. It'll be similar to this.
And Is that the school district's expense?
Well, we're hashing that out with them right now.
We're hashing out with, okay.
Yeah.
And the same, I'm gonna ask the same about the scoreboard.
The placards that go on the scoreboard is at our expense. They're a lot cheaper than the professional signage that would be placed out front of the stadium and in the back of it.
Okay, there's not gonna be any electronic, because don't we have, doesn't that scoreboard have capacity for?
It does, but these are stationary.
These are just stationary,
Yeah,
okay.
no,
And that is our expense.
that is our.
That will be.
Yeah,
This is negotiable.
right.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
You said the one for the one you just passed around on the press box? And then
In the back of the press box, and the other one will be down by the major, there, the open area.
Any other questions? We have consensus to add business 1 through 5 to the agenda.
Yes.
Construction, 1, we have some change orders for the athletic complex project.
And then your backup, there's 3 different change orders. One is roughly 12,000. It's for additional fencing and a gate under the bleachers. We were doing a walkthrough. It was a safety issue that there was no fencing to keep spectators from going behind the bleachers. We felt like it was a need there, and that's what that is. The second one is design revisions for the foundation of that pre-engineered building. It was about 14.5. And the third one is for additional padlocks and chains to the fencing areas to keep the place secure, and that was to the tune of about $1,568. Those were the change orders, and I think that gets us current in regards to where we are with that project at this time.
Okay. Any questions about C1?
The follow-up material has us paying the sales tax. It's included in the total price.
Well, we'll check that, because we should be tax exempt, so.
Well, not everything's tax exempt, be aware of that. Generally, we are, so, but yeah, you can have them double check
Yeah,
that.
we'll check it.
That's number 2, and number 3 is where I found the tax.
2 and 3.
Okay, yeah.
Consensus to add C1 to the agenda. So we have a few policy items. The solicitor want to bring our attention to any of those?
The first one, policy 1, is some amendments to our board procedures for meetings. Just to highlight a couple of things that are being added as a result of some changes in law is that executive sessions can now be held for purposes of school safety and security. And the purpose of that is that there are some things that we discuss that we may not want students or outsiders to be aware of the security measures that are being taken. I shouldn't say students so much, but mostly outsiders. So that is something that they've added out of a concern for what is going on in this day and age, unfortunately. So be aware of that. There's a list of things that are actually more of a redraft of the number of votes needed for some items. We always inform you ahead of your vote if there's something unusual that's required under the school code, but that appears on page 10. The other thing you want to be aware of is abstentions from voting. We've added a section that, as you all know, you guys sign a document that's made part of the minutes as to why you abstain, but now you need to make a short statement verbally as well as to why you're abstaining. And that is if it's a conflict. I know sometimes someone may choose to abstain just because they have lack of information on something. Policy 2. That is updating our students being allowed to self-administer EpiPens and asthma inhalers. There's not too much really being changed there, but again, it's more just keeping in touch with a few minor amendments that have been made to the use of EpiPens and inhalers by students, as opposed to having to go to the nurse's office to do that. There are requirements that they have to be able to show their doctor as well as our school nurse that they're capable of doing it. Policy item number 3, that is all dealing with a recent amendment to the school code that now permits economic furloughs. As you know, in the past, you could not furlough a professional employee for economic reasons. The changes here are dealing with the hoops that we may have to go through and the way the seniority system would work in the event of any furloughs. It's tied to evaluations in terms of the furloughs and the economic. If we ever do economic furloughs, I just want to remind people, you generally got to start around January, that whole process, if you ever would need to go through one. Knock on wood, we've been pretty good lately. Child abuse, seems like we're always amending this policy. But what it's being done is there is a federal law that deals with trafficking in persons and sex trafficking. So our policy was amended to add those to things that are reportable, which seems kind of obvious. The other addition is the posting of the hotline that anybody can call should they become aware of or think there is something involving child abuse. And that hotline protects you. If you make that phone call, it gets to that district as well, even though it may be a statewide clearinghouse. But we encourage people, if they see anything suspicious, to please use that hotline. And that is it.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on any of the policy items?
On policy 008, page 4, it's the executive sessions, the reasons for an executive session.
Yep.
Okay. We're eliminating real estate such as buying and selling, and it's added just the purchase of.
It's purchase or lease of real estate, and purchase is generically whether we are the buyer or seller. Somebody's purchasing from us,
Okay.
or we are purchasing from them. And the same with lease.
Okay, so we can do either one.
Yes.
Okay, but.
Yeah,
and-
that acronym CLEAR is something from about 20 years ago. So what this policy is doing is making a little more specific as to what the acronym CLEAR stands for that you see deleted on page 4.
Okay. And on policy 2,
Policy 2.
page 5, it's just the district will be stocking the injectors,
Yes,
but we won't be stocking the asthma inhalers.
that's correct.
Is there any particular reason for that?
Frankly, it's school code that permits us to do the EpiPens, but not the other way. Health Department and the school code allows districts to now, through their school physician, have a standing order to stock the EpiPens, that the inhalers, so far, that is not the case.
Does that make sense? No, I won't ask that. Thank you.
You want to know why I think it is? I think they view the inhalers are things that are usually prescribed to a student because he has an asthma condition, whereas the EpiPens could arise from things that a student may not even know they have a problem with. It
An
could be
allergy.
allergies, bee stings, things like that, that they could suddenly have a very adverse reaction.
All right.
Peanuts,
Thank you.
things like that.
Any other questions on policy items? Do you have consensus to add them?
Sure.
Other informational folder?
Just a quick update on where we are with the mold issue at West Shamokin. Just throw in some facts. All of our buildings in the district have been tested and cleared, with the exception of West Shamokin, as you all know from you're from that attendance area. We're making progress in our effort to remediate that building, and we have different parts of that building getting cleared every day. We felt that we had a very good handle on it as recent as yesterday afternoon. But then we had teachers in there for the in-service day, and other areas were identified as potential issues. So we brought our professional people back in to have those areas tested. We weren't comfortable bringing in the students and the staff again without remediating those sections. We have a plan, like we said in the release that we put out, that we're hopeful to get in there on Tuesday. If everything goes well, we think that can happen. We will once again send out a notice early in the week to update that attendance area as to what our intentions are, but we believe that we're getting it under control. We're in a good place, and there's at least 30 workers there doing what they need to do to get those areas cleared. But there are parts of that building that's currently cleared. The auditorium's cleared, the gym's cleared, the locker room's cleared, the band room's cleared. We have issues in some of the classroom spaces that we're dealing with. It's not something we're dealing with on our own. We have professional companies in there. We have Reynolds Restoration Company is in charge of the cleaning. We have another consultant who's the third party is in charge of the testing and retesting. And there's a lab in Greensburg who's doing all the testing. So we're very comfortable with the professionals who are involved, as well in conjunction with working right alongside with our people, and the staff administration out there has been fantastic. In the community, speak on behalf of the board, the entire administration, we appreciate your patience and understanding, and we'll get through it in a timely manner. And hopefully the disruption to your school year is isolated to this event, and you can go on with your juniors and senior years like you should. So bear with us. We're doing everything in our power to get it up and running, and it's safe for people to be in there.
Well, you know, I fully support your plan, your process, because you certainly don't want to send students, teachers, and staff in there before it's not worth the risk. So I think you're doing it the right way, and very appreciative too. I know all the hard work that the administrators, the janitorial staff, the reports that we're getting, how much extra time and volunteer time they're putting into this effort is really commendable. So really greatly appreciate it on behalf of the board and the district.
I will pass that along.
So we're back over on the open caucus agenda. Anything else from administrators or board members at this time? So at this time, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Mr. Burdell, I need a second. Ms. Lope, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.